Hi everyone, this is the Wednesday Witch, Lara Campagna, here with your tarot forecast for Gemini season. Gemini season begins tomorrow, May 21st, when the Sun and also Mercury, the ruler of the mutable air sign Gemini, moves almost together at the same time into Gemini, and Mercury immediately goes into the heart of the Sun, which is known as being Cazimi. And there they receive a divine implantation of knowledge, a bit of wisdom to carry forward over the next 3 months. And you can really think of it as a divine mission that our mind and soul receives. So that is an exciting way to begin Gemini season. And the Sun will stay in Gemini until the summer solstice on June 21st. And this is a really exciting time because the Sun is continuously building in power as it moves up to the day of the most light in the entire year, which is when it will ingress into Cancer on the summer solstice, and the summer will officially begin. And Gemini is a mutable, double-bodied sign that disperses the spring, and you can see that where I live, at least, through all of the pollen and the seeds scattering in the air, and very windy, and it can make you feel kind of restless in your mind. And the interesting thing is that while Gemini is clearing the way for a new season to begin, the Sun is rising to its highest point in the sky. And so I have, for where we have been for the past, the Prince of Cups. And so this card is about deep emotional journeys and transformation. And the Prince of Cups is a water sign. Mercury spent a lot of time in the water sign of Pisces and was retrograde there earlier in the year. And it was a pretty intense time because Mercury was in their detriment, is in their detriment in Pisces. And Mercury rules our mental faculties and how we sort and process information and what we notice in the world and how we communicate that. And so a lot of people were just really uncomfortable not having their usual method of assessing and asserting themselves, because when Mercury was retrograde in Pisces, it was almost like we were looking at the big picture, but the small details weren't as easily available to us as they normally are. And we were communicating more from a heart space or from an emotional place. And Mercury is much more comfortable with the analytical side of life and being logical and reasoning in that way. So this was a deep challenge for a lot of people, but Mercury spent some time in Aries and then Taurus and is now ready to move into their airy home. However, this is the card for where we are right now, the Ten of Swords, and collectively we're in a very challenging place. The Ten of Swords speaks to being at the end of something that has been very difficult and almost like having no other choice but to surrender. And you can see here with the card that a heart has been pierced. There's been some heartbreak that has gone on. And the other swords are really kind of piling up to make this emotional experience of heartbreak that much worse. So for many, many people, the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto and Ketu, the lunar south node in Capricorn, has been really challenging. And we're seeing this on a collective level in many different ways. I've been writing about the connection between attacks on reproductive health and justice, and definitely with all the horrible things going on at the U.S.-Mexico border and the separation of families, the abuse of children. So there's a lot of heartbreak on a collective level at what people in authority who are abusing their power, at what they're doing and how harmful they're being, and a collective reckoning of what are we going to do about it as a people. And it's also playing out on an individual level where a lot of people are going through tough things in their family life or at work. And, you know, K2, the lunar south node, is about karma and things from the past that are coming forward and things that we need to deal with. So, there's the only way we can really move through this is to really feel it and learn from it. And there's definitely a lot from the past that needs to be amended in order for us to collectively live in right relationship, especially in the United States, in our settler colonial society that was built on the profits of unpaid labor and the exploitation of people of color and women, and the violence against queer and especially transgender and gender nonconforming people. There's just so much that needs to be corrected, and we are really being confronted with the forces in society that have no interest in that and want to continue to do things in this patriarchal dominating manner. And the collective heartbreak that that is causing all of us is actually something that, you know, it appears we are being invited to sit with for a while. And the challenge this month is the Devil card. So when we're uncomfortable, it's really, really easy to just want to tap out and to use old negative coping mechanisms that don't actually serve us in feeling better, but provide a temporary escape in the moment. And so the devil often represents temptation, and the devil also represents Capricorn, and Mercury is not going to spend very long in Gemini, unfortunately. It's always nice when a planet is in their home domicile, their home sign, but we're having a Gemini new moon on June 3rd, and then Mercury immediately scoots off into Cancer and begins to oppose, which is also what Mars is doing, Saturn, Pluto, and K2 in Capricorn. So the challenge being depicted by the tarot cards is quite literal. The challenge is dealing with all of this Capricorn stuff. And so when Mercury is confronted with it, we're really going to be asked, okay, we've surrendered to the acceptance of the situation, but that doesn't mean we don't do anything about it. It means we fully understand what the situation is, and then we move into action. So awareness, acceptance, action, and we can't skip any step, and it's our responsibility to move into action. And so that's what Mercury is really going to be calling us into during the time that they're in Cancer, which will be from June 4th to the 26th. And that's almost, that's a good portion of the time that the sun is in Gemini. So this confrontation with the Capricorn crew, as I've been calling them, is definitely going to influence the sun's experience in Gemini, because Mercury is ruling Gemini, and it's going to impact the priorities and the abilities of what Mercury can provide and offer the sun as its host. So the final outcome is the Knight of Swords. And this is a really beautiful Gemini card to me. This knight is going places. And this knight has his swords of truth and justice and reasoning. But he also has these really cool propellers on his head that symbolize the seventh chakra and connection to the divine and wisdom coming in from above. And this knight is going to help us to move through everything that we now feel kind of stuck in. And as I said, having both Mars and Mercury in Cancer is tough because Mars is not doing well in Cancer, and that's our will. So it's hard to feel like we can move, but mentally we are going to get a lot of information, and we will be able, some of it will be actionable, and we will be able to take steps. So that is definitely, there's a lot of inspiration, there's a lot of insight. Gemini really is a sign that likes to move around and likes to go places. And so that energy is going to help us keep it light while we're also dealing with some really important and heavy and difficult things. So the bonus card that I have for you is, ta-da, the Lust card. So this is number 11 in the Major Arcana of the Thoth deck, which is also related to the Strength card in other decks. So, you know, the bright side is that Mercury will eventually move into Leo. That's not happening during Gemini season. But that also, it's really important while we're dealing with all of these really difficult things in the world that we stay connected to what turns us on, what inspires us. You know, love and culture have always been the refuge for, and how marginalized and oppressed peoples have expressed ourselves, built our resistance, built resistance movements, and it's things that no one can take from us. Our magic, our brilliance, our beauty, our incredible witchiness. They can try, but they cannot squash it. So this is a reminder that towards the end of spring, in this final season of spring, give yourself permission to feel pleasure in your body and see where that takes you creatively. This card is really just about feeling so connected and inspired that we create more beautiful things. So that is what I have for you today. I hope you have a really beautiful Gemini season. I'm going to be doing a longer, detailed written post about this on my Patreon, and if you would like to join at any tier, you will gain access to that, and the tiers start at $4. It's really pretty reasonable. So if you enjoy my work, I would love to have your support as my patron, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your spring, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.